Alright, what's up guys, TCR043. I know I haven't done any videos recently, but there's just a couple of things I want to show off. This is the FTB Ultimate Pack. That's a little setup I'll get to in a second. This is to do with factorization and a bit of red power as well, as you can see over there. It can also be done with buildcraft and applied energistics, what's over there. But as I said, I'll show you that in a second. This is sort of a more manual setup for it. So this is the same size ring of solar reflective mirrors over there. Solar turbine here, battery back, battery, and then come over here we have a grinder. So the whole idea is you grind up some ore. Let's grab the iron, gold, why not? So you grind up some gold. My texture pack is a little bit off. The arrow isn't going to be perfect for this now, but that doesn't really matter. There we go, now it's starting to come up. So the first thing you do is you grind up some form of ore, which in this case I'm just doing gold because it was the first one I came across. And when you do that, you'd get dirty gold gravel. And then with your dirty gold gravel, you put it in this mixer with a bucket of water. You don't need the 3 buckets, it's just handier for that. You just need 1 bucket of water and dirty gold gravel, and it will turn it into a clean gold chunk with a bucket and sludge. And then you get your gold chunk. Right, I changed that. Oops, slag. Furnace. Oh, I had it in my inventory. Oh well. Plop down a slag furnace. Put this into your slag furnace. Now the reason I don't need to use coal is because that's a furnace heater block. Ignore them. So cook up your clean gold gravel, and that's why we only got 1 reduced gold chunk. Sometimes you can get 2, 1 in each part. And then what you do with these is you throw them into a crystallizer, which is these. With 1 thing of sulfuric acid. You don't need to take this out. It's a consistent thing. Like, this has been going for a while, and it's already ran through about 3 or 4 times, and it's only used 1 sulfuric acid so far. So, or it hasn't used the sulfuric acid. It's actually about to finish again. But as I said, this is the manual setup. Now, there's one thing about this, and it's the crystallizers. They take 20 minutes to run through once. Yeah, which is a long bloody time. And so it does, oh, that would be so handy. Okay, so you just noticed that it changed over and we got 7 crystalline iron. So the idea of this is if you have these filled up with 64, if you have 5 stacks of these reduced iron chunks, you put it in here, 1 stack in each thing, and every 20 minutes it's going to use 5 of those reduced iron chunks, and it's I can't remember the exact chance percentage. 150%. So 1.5 times the amount of iron chunks. That's why we got 7 rather than 5 crystalline iron. Now what you do with the crystalline iron then is you just get a normal old furnace, throw it in, and again furnace heater will power the furnace for you, and it also speeds it up, which is nice and handy. And that will give you, each crystalline iron gives you 1 iron ingot. So I ran through before with about 1 gold, and I ended up with actually 5 gold ingots. So it's not an exact science, really, because in the grinder here, you have, I think it's a 150 or 140% chance of getting that dirty gold gravel. And then in here, it's a 1:1 ratio. And then using the clean gold chunks in the slag furnace, you can also just cook these at any point to get 1 gold ingot from them. But that's a bit of a waste. You have a 142% chance to get 2 reduced gold chunks. So every so often you're going to end up getting 2 reduced gold chunks rather than just 1. And each reduced gold chunk in turn can turn into 2 of the crystalline iron or crystalline gold or whatever. So this is sort of the more manual setup where you have this already done and you have only the grinder, the mixer. You may only have one crystallizer, but again, you do have those 5 slots, and it has to be 5 of the same. Like, see, I didn't put the gold in here. It has to be 5 of the same stuff. Like, this is all iron. The only limiting factor is, in fact, the crystallizer. But since you can store up to 5 stacks in it at once, you can pretty much have a crystallizer for each ore, and then that crystallizer can have up to 5 stacks of each ore in it at a time. And then again, you could end up with maybe 8 stacks, 7 to 8 stacks out of just 5 stacks of these reduced iron chunks. So, can be very handy. And for each crystallizer, you have to have one of these furnace heaters beside them. It's some place beside them. The crystallizer doesn't actually take this factorization power. Instead, the furnace heater below it takes the power, and it powers, quite literally, powers the crystallizer. So that's how the crystallizers work, which is a little bit awkward. And the fact that it takes nearly 20 minutes to do it is a bit annoying as well. Any of the recipes in the crystallizer is 20 minutes. So as you can see, just down there where my cursor is, there's a small little chunk, and as it gets closer to finishing, the chunk gets bigger and bigger in the crystallizer. So that is the manual setup, and then this is just a bit of applied energistics over here. This is a ore doubler, just for simplicity. We have an igneous extruder connected up to pulverizer, which makes sand, into an induction smelter. Sand, any ore will give you double of that ore. So what I ended up doing was, let's say this is your input, or no, you have like an input chest, and this will push any ore into this. It's connected up there, where this pulls out any of the ore, puts it into those, smelts, goes all the way back up there to the ender chest, and gets pulled out by these. And that, well, since you get straight ore, you can end up with double the amount of ore you actually use, which is quite handy. Now, as I said, I used I think it was just 1 block of gold ore in this grinder. I think I got 2 here, and then I got about 5 out of the clean chunks from the mixer. I got 5 of the reduced. I think it was either 5 or 4. And then I ended up getting more when I threw it in the crystallizer. So it all really depends on your luck. Now over here, as I said, is a more automated version. This would be your input chest, where you just drop all of your ores in here. Now I said I was using red power here, but you can use the implied energistics stuff that was over there. So red power, you're using a filter, just so it pulls out a stack each time, and a timer, doesn't really matter what interval. I decided to use a transposer here. Rather than another filter, because it's only going to do up to 2 at a time, so it's not really necessary to do any more. I threw in 2 stacks of iron, and we're just gone over 1.5 stacks. This is our grinder here. You have to input from the top of the grinder to get your ore. If you input into the side, it's just going to place it in the output slot, which doesn't make a lot of sense. It's the same thing with all of these machines, actually. You have to, except for the crystallizer. The crystallizer has input at the sides. Everything else has input at the top, I believe. Yeah, like the mixer has the input at the top as well. As you can see, the dirty iron gravel is down here, and we actually have a water system set up over here with the deployer. It just uses these empty buckets to pulls out the water every, I think it's 5 seconds. Yeah, every 5 seconds it pulls, makes a new bucket of water, and this yoke pulls it out. This filter pulls it out and puts it in here, but it's been backed up with a bunch of water buckets already, and you see there's the 3 water buckets again. As I said, easier for automating it. And then the filter down there that pulls it out, and then there's 2 filters on the pneumatic pipe. One filter pulls out buckets, the other filter pulls out the sludge, which is the byproduct. And as you can see, we already have 5 iron in here. So while I was talking, the crystallizer ran through 1 run, and it had 3 slots taken up. So it would have gotten about definitely three crystalline iron, but it seemed to make a double production and it ended up with 5. So up here we have a furnace, and again there's a furnace heater down there. So the slag furnace don't need any coal, since they're using a furnace heater which runs off the factorization power. They're not going to need coal, which is very handy. And the crystallizer needed the furnace heater anyway. So once again, 20 minutes per recipe. So while this takes 20 minutes, everything else is actually a lot faster. And I think once they're going, they're a bit faster as well. Like this one is constantly going, and so is this one, as long as it has some form of ore in it. As long as they're constantly going, they have more power. There's a clean iron. See, we just got 2 reduced iron chunks there, and they go into the crystallizer here. Now you see we have 3 stacks of reduced iron chunks, but as I said, we only just went over about a stack and 3/4 in here, right? Yeah, we just went over a stack and 3/4, and we already have 3 stacks, and we're pretty much all the way there to another quarter. And again, this could end up, if we had all 5 of these, this could end up being 7 or 8 crystalline iron chunks, which turns into 7 or 8 pieces of iron, which will eventually get over here. So that is the whole idea with the red power setup. It's a bit all over the place, but you can make it. This was me trying to make it a little bit compact. That's why the furnace. You see, this is all based around. You see, that lead wire is connected to all 3 of those, which makes it very handy. As you can see, the lead wire isn't actually connecting up to the crystallizer here. It's just going straight past it, like, oh, I don't need power, so don't give me any. What you can do though is you don't have to have a wire going to each of these machines. You could just have the machines going in a line. Like if I head back over here, you'll see that it was the grinder and the mixer, but the mixer didn't actually have a wire connected to it. It does require power though, and power transfers through machines in red power and in factorization. Because factorization is not red power. Just in case anybody's wondering, that stuff is red. Red power, thermal expansion, and endochess is what this is made out of, and then this is applied energetic stuff right here. Don't really have much else to show you now. As I said, this is on FTB Ultimate Pack, but this will work anywhere you have factorization or red power. The manual one, it takes a lot longer because you can't just drop in the ore and go do something else. This would be very handy because you can actually fit it within the boundaries of a chunk, like I did here. That was not actually planned, it just so happened to fit within the boundary of a chunk. So you can fit this all into one chunk, and you can spot load it on a server or anything if you're doing server stuff. So you can have this thing spot loaded. So just this one chunk is running, but then again you probably are going to need to chunk load about 3x3 around this yoke, right? Yeah, you sort of would, unless you do like a smaller ring of reflective mirrors. But other than that, really, nothing else you have to do in relation to it. Yeah. If you were to center this in a chunk, it would probably take up at least one chunk, if not more. One thing with the solar turbines is you have to have water underneath them, because as you can see in their little model there, there's water at the bottom. As soon as that goes out, it picks up a new water source. So you have to have an infinite pool underneath to continually refresh it with water. Just like I have the infinite pool here for getting the buckets of water. Again, this is running through. Yeah, we're finished with the 2 stacks now. So, yeah, we're halfway through this. So, that tells me I've been recording for over 10 minutes. Yeah, this is such a slow process. That's what sort of why I'm saying it's handy for if you're on a server and the server is up 24/7, you can just pop a spot loader down here, like a spot loader, which will just load the chunk it's in. So from this block, all the way over to this mirror block over here. That one. That is going to be loaded by the spot loader. So if you were to go offline and the server was still online, this system would be running, and you can have this as an ender chest containing all of your ores or something like that, or applied energistics putting ores into it for you from like a central disk drive collection spot. You can set it so it sends all of the ores into this, and then it'll pump it out into the grinder, and so on and so on. Yeah, that's really it. There's nothing else to say. The crystallizer is one of the slowest blocks, but it's honestly, this system needs some way to because, as I said, that was one gold ingot, or one gold block, 5 gold ingots. So you need some way of balancing it, and balancing it is the crystallizer. But again, you could just throw the reduced iron chunks into a furnace and it would work that way. There's no need to use the crystalline iron. Just if you're sort of getting into the late game, or if you're starting out, this would be a good thing to do, because you will end up getting more than at least 3 times. You'll at least get 3 ingots from one ore block, if not 5, because 5 is awesome. Yeah, I'm sort of hoping this would finish. Do you know what? Actually, pause the recording. I'll just cut it out until it's finished. Okay, so it's not actually finished yet, but this is just something about implied energistics. The way I was talking about it is the same way I'm sort of doing it here. With, like, let's say you have an input ender chest from, let's say, your quarry or something, and you then end up using this export bus, which has 8 slots, which is just enough for the 8 ores that you can mine. Not including Greg Tech stuff, because Greg Tech stuff doesn't give you straight ingots. These are all stuff that will give you the actual resources, even the aluminum ore. I say aluminium because I'm European, but it's written aluminum, which really annoys me. But the mod developer is American. Stupid Americans and their aluminum. Aluminium, guys, it's aluminium. There's meant to be an I there after the N. Anyway, this will create, just use an export bus into a chest, and then you can end up using the same chest again. You're gonna need to set up a filter on an import bus for taking in all of the resources, because otherwise it's just gonna take out the ore straight again and put it back into the system. And I learned that the hard way. Come on, let this be finished. Oh my god. This is probably another 5 minutes. Be back in a bit. Okay, so it's still not done, but I just checked the factorization configuration file to see if you could change how long this takes, but you can't. It sort of sucks. But oh well, you're not meant to be able to change it, but I did want to change it for the video so it was a little bit quicker, but you can't actually do that, and besides, this is the amount of time it would take on a server anyway, because I doubt the server owner would want to change this, since it's a way of balancing stuff. But that is a choice of your own. This is the mod maker's choice. He decided to make it 20 minutes for each recipe. God damn you. But thank you for letting me get 5 ingots per ore. Or about that. But, yeah, I'm still waiting for this one to make crystalline. Let's see, what about the other one over here? Yay, super jump. Oh, this one is also nearly done. Now you see what I mean about the whole giant crystal poking out at your face. This one is actually way closer to being done. So we literally just missed that one too, when I was showing you all of this manual labor stuff. Nearly finished, nearly finished. How many are we going to get per reduced gold chunk? I don't know. Oh, we got 2. See, and the sulfuric acid wasn't used. So I got 2 crystalline gold out of that. We throw it in our furnace and we'll get 1 gold each time. Now this one is closer to being done than that one. So again, we're probably going to get about 7 or 8 reduced iron from that. And there we go, our 7 gold. So another thing about these furnace heater blocks, the more you have around the sides of a furnace, you can have up to 6 really, but you won't be able to access the furnace if you have all 6, the 6 sides of it surrounded by furnace heaters. Right now it's being touched on 2 sides by furnace heaters, but we can add another one here, underneath, and if we add one on top, you won't actually be able to access it. Ooh, we got 8. Ooh, that's nice, actually. So, for accessing stuff out of this, like taking stuff out, you have to pull it out of the top. Just for automation purposes. Although I think if you were to use the applied energistics stuff, it wouldn't make a difference as long as it's... Actually, it probably still would make a difference. I think it still would make a difference if you did it with applied energistics, which side you do it on. Because you could use the... Yeah, we are out of the iron chunks. So unless they're in here, all of them are now in this. So, oh, it just went through. And it just finished up, so how many more did we get? We got the 5 we already had, we got 6 that time. Okay. We got 6 more iron, which is good. That's 40 minutes, you get 6 iron. No, 11 iron in 40 minutes. Yeah, that's probably the only problem I have with this one, is the amount of time. But look, we have nearly 4 stacks from 2 stacks of iron. And that again could end up turning into 3 or 4 stacks. So you have to see that it's not just about doubling your ore with factorization. It's tripling or quadrupling your ore even with factorization. It's just that it takes so much longer that most people wouldn't even think about using it. I don't even know if a lot of you know about this either. The whole factorization, tripling ore thing. But that's really all I have to say about it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And, well, you never know. I might actually have FTB playthrough soon. Maybe. But I'm only going to be able to record during the weekends. And then again, I may not be able to record every day during the weekend. Or any time at all during the weekend. It really depends. As it comes closer to June, I'm less likely to be doing any recording. Yeah, so it's probably going to be this weekend and next weekend that I get the most recording done. And right now it's 4 o'clock on Sunday, the 14th, in case anybody's wondering. 4 o'clock, could probably get another thing recorded, if only the server was online. I'm playing on a FTB Ultimate server, but the server is going to be offline for the entire week. Besides, I don't really want to go on during the week. I have school stuff to be worried about during the week. But again, automated, not automated. It takes much longer doing it over there, but it is smarter every once in a while to come down here and just to even out the iron chunks in this. Like if you were to take them all out and make it all 32, 33, whatever. If you were to make it all 33, and then you went back through with your stack and you started to just add up all of the reduced iron chunks. You would see that once we have them all done, that in fact, when you actually spread them out like this, it's better for you because you're more likely to get more each time you do a cycle on the crystallizer. Like this way, it's more likely to give you about 7 or 8 crystalline iron or crystalline whatever every time it runs through. So that is factorization, tripling your ore output, at least. Tripling your ore output, if not quadrupling it. So, and then again, that is how many chunks from the grinder went through the mixer, because every time it cycles through in the mixer, it creates one sludge. So over 2 3/4 stacks of stuff went through the mixer. What was it? Dirty iron gravel went through the mixer from 2 stacks of iron, and that went through the slag furnace, and it went to almost 4 stacks of iron. And again, that almost 4 stacks can end up turning into 4 stacks. Maybe even 4.5. I'm not fully sure on the the math behind this, percentages and all of this. But after all, it is all mod based. I don't know why I was trying to say it all mod based. Thanks for watching, because I have nothing else to say. Thanks for watching, and I'll probably see you soon. Who knows? Bye, guys.